what will you have? You will have your operating system. Is that right? Yes. So you have your operating system. Let me take yellow here. All right. Let me type operating system. Well, you cannot see it because I have not just highlighted it yet. Let me operating system here, or we can call it host. Okay, bold, make it black. Right, now we can see it. Right, so this is what you have, the operating system. Right, so in that operating system, what I'm going to do is I'm going to install a virtual, or let's say an application. Okay, let's say just an application, that is VMware Workstation. Right, so I'm going to take VMware Workstation here. And when I install vmware Workstation, or let's say this is the operating system, or any application, or any virtualization software, VMware Workstation, or ESXi, ESX, or vSphere, right? I'm going to install this, and what that is going to do is that is going to create a magical layer, right? That magical layer, you can call it as VMware, VMware's virtualization layer, right? There's one more technical term for that. Hypervisor. Right. So what is this hypervisor? What is this hypervisor? Everybody says, now you have Microsoft, that says it has hypervisor. It says Hyper-V, and we have Xen hypervisor. You have KVM hypervisor. What is a hypervisor? Hypervisor is nothing but a coating, alright, a layer that sits on top of the operating system, so that on this hypervisor, what you can do is you can create multiple operating systems, right? Okay. Well, I'm not so good at the PowerPoint and everything. Just bear with me, alright? So, so let me reduce this to 15, right? So, VM stands for virtual machine, or guest OS 1. Let's say this is a Red Hat operating system, alright? Guest OS 1, and you have VM guest OS 2, Red Hat Linux 5.4, right? And okay, let me edit this one too, right? VM. Okay, this is, let's say this is I'm liking Windows 7. Okay, let's leave it. Okay, let's say that's a choice of your operating system, or whatever operating system that you want to call. Maybe Server 2008, right? Or Debian Apache Server. Okay, so VM guest OS 3, Let's go. We will have a Debian, right? Debian OS. And let's go for the third one here. I'm sorry, the last one, fourth one. That is VM guest OS 4. What should we have here? Okay, I'm gonna go for SUSE Linux. That's one of the SUSE Linux or Ubuntu. Oh, that's cool. Ubuntu is really good. So these are the operating systems. So inside an operating system, I'm going to install a different operating systems. Isn't that cool? You like Windows operating systems. You're used to it. I'm using Windows now from Windows 98. All right, I've used Windows 98, Windows 2000, and Windows Millennium. Right, of course, Windows XP and Windows Vista Ultimate, and then now Windows 7 Ultimate. Alright, I've also tried Windows Server 2003 and Server 2008 just for the learning purpose. So here, I don't want to switch. Unless, let's say, when Vista came up, everybody bought units with Vista, but then they realized that their old printer, which was working with XP, no more works with Vista because the vendor or the manufacturer of the printer, they don't have drivers, or they have not manufactured drivers for that printer. So they had one option: either downgrade their operating system, even though they paid for Vista, they can go back to XP, or go for a much expensive solution, that is buy a new printer. Let's say, maybe it's for your home. You might want to go for a new printer. Maybe that printer is old. But let's think about the business, okay? Let's go for a medical a hospital. Okay, they have some medical instruments, which they worked great with the Windows XP operating systems, right? And they just cannot go ahead and buy a new medical equipment that will cost millions of dollars, right? So, but you never thought about that. You just made a switch. So instead of that, what you can do is you can just, you have your Windows XP here. Let's say this is Windows XP. You install VMware, okay, VMware Workstation 6.5 or VMware ESXi, and then you install here Windows Vista. Let's say this is Windows Vista, or this is Windows 7. Right? You're trying it here, and you also wanna learn Red Hat Linux 5.4, or Debian 5, or SUSE Linux 11, or Ubuntu 9.